Welcome everyone, they call me Intratech and I'm excited for Dreams, the game Media Molecule is working on. Matter of fact, I've been excited for Media Molecule's next game since Little Big Planet 2, which is one of my favorite games of all time. One problem though, that game released in 2011, which was 2 years prior to the announcement of the PlayStation 4. It's no secret that Media Molecule has had, and probably still has, tremendous difficulty bringing this ambitious new game to life. But instead of discussing the problems the game has, I'd rather want to focus on a maybe overlooked or underappreciated aspect of what Dreams is trying to achieve. So now the marketing for the game finally seems to be ramping up, let's talk about a few cool things that the VR functionality could bring to the table. First of all though, if you don't know what Dreams is, I will try to explain it to the best of my ability as fast as possible. I will show a time on screen that you can skip to if you're already in the know about this game. So, Dreams is a 3D play, create, share game that tries to mix those aspects together instead of having them completely separated like in Little Big Planet. So the game stimulates you to create while you play, share while you create, and play while you share. But what do you create? Well, Dreams is basically a really ergonomic game engine with all kinds of creative tools on top of it. Where in a normal game engine you would mainly create a scene by importing files from other programs, in Dreams everything you use is made in the game. You can create assets, gameplay logic, animations, music and much more. All with simple button presses and hand gestures. The creation mode of the game is actually so sophisticated that the main story campaign of the game is being created entirely with the creative tools. From the music to the animation work to the gameplay, everything you see in the trailers for this game was created inside of it. The idea is that players will be able to create entire games and share them with the community, just like in Little Big Planet. Where Dreams differs from Little Big Planet though, is that uploading levels is no longer the only way to share. Yes, you can share entire games, as mentioned earlier, but maybe you just like creating music, sculpting different kinds of trees, or maybe you don't like creating at all and would just like to play cool levels. Dreams is totally supportive of this by utilizing a community system that almost reminds me of social media. How it works? Well, if, for example, you are trying to make a futuristic environment but need some sci-fi music, you can use a browser to search for this kind of music. If you find a piece that sounds good, you can check out what else that creator makes and maybe find out they specialize in sci-fi assets and music. You can then follow that creator and easily access their library of stuff every time you need something futuristic. Where the emphasis in Little Big Planet was mostly placed on the creation, in Dreams it's all about the creator. But there's also something to do for you if you just like playing levels and don't want to create. Namely, you can become a curator. By making a page and sharing every level you enjoy, people who have the same taste in levels as you can follow you, and you can as a result become a hub from where players find out which new levels they will enjoy. If you still are not convinced about how all the community aspects will come together, the developers have made this great analogy with YouTube. Because you don't need to be able to make videos to have a good time on YouTube. You can interact with people, share videos with your friends, and enjoy an endless amount of content, all without uploading a single video. Basically, Media Molecule wants Dreams to become the YouTube of video games. But that concludes the summary, which was quite long but still managed to talk about a fraction of what Dreams really is. But alas, let's talk VR. Because it has been confirmed multiple times now that Dreams will be playable in VR. To what extent we don't know yet, but I don't expect we will be able to play just any level in VR, since virtual reality requires so much extra power that the ceiling of what is possible would probably be significantly lowered if you set a level to be playable in VR. What I would guess is that you can set a level to be playable in 2D or VR or both, but if you choose the VR option, the amount of stuff you can place before the game tells you to stop will be a lot less. That's my guess though. We still have seen no gameplay or heard any extended talk about the VR mode whatsoever, as far as I know. Now onto why the prospect of being able to play Dreams in VR is so incredibly exciting. First of all, the price-quality ratio. The problem with a lot of VR games right now is that most of them are overpriced for the amount of time you will spend on them. I own like 15 VR games, but only a few I've played for more than 5 hours. And yeah, that's because a lot of them are short and have zero replay value, but something else is also going on. Because even Skyrim VR, which was a potentially over 100 hours game, just couldn't hold my attention for longer than 7 hours. And honestly, I don't really know why. I invite you to discuss this in the comments, but I think the reason why I can play most VR games for long is because their gameplay is really shallow. Superhot VR is so far my most played and favorite VR game, and I think that is because you can actually get better at it. You can always do things a cooler, faster or overall better way. Compare this to Skyrim VR, where in fights you are just spamming whatever you got and hope that the health of the enemy runs out before yours does. The point is, a lot of these games you will only play for a few hours, but it will still cost you between 20 and 40 euros, and often higher. But here comes Dreams. Yes, it will be 60 euros, but do you realize the amount of replay value user-generated content brings? Imagine playing a Halo VR game or walking around Hogwarts or through the mines of Moria. People will make these kinds of levels and even way better ones that don't rely on licenses. Think about weird psychological stuff with impossible landscapes and intriguing stories. If the create mode for VR is as good as the one of the main game, Dreams will become an endless source of free VR games. But that's not all, because Dreams is inherently about sharing. This means that you as a player will be able to modify these levels and improve them. Every VR game I own has at least one easily fixable thing that still takes away from the experience, and in Dreams I will be able to just modify the things I don't like. Another reason why Dreams VR mode could be revolutionary is that it will give hundreds of thousands of creative people access to basically VR development software. Why is this awesome? Well, as you may know, VR is such a new genre of gaming that controls haven't even been standardized yet. You won't find a single 2D game on console where you walk with the right stick, for example, but in VR almost every game has its own movement system. Where Dreams plays into this is that you could see it as a sort of prototyping tool for new movement and other gameplay systems in VR. What I'm trying to get at is that at least a few of those couple 100,000 people that will play Dreams in VR have right now a genius idea for how to implement a movement system in VR, but they are not developers themselves. By giving them access to this flexible engine, they would be able to share it with the world, and maybe real developers would take notice and implement it in their own games. But real developers could also use Dreams to test basic systems of their VR game. Just like a 3D printer is a versatile creation tool that allows engineers to rapid prototype and quickly test ideas without too much investment, Dreams could become a versatile creation tool that allows developers to rapid prototype and get test builds with assets, environments and everything ready within a day. But even if no revolutionary stuff happens, just being able to create something and see it in 3D and walk around in your own creation will already be a selling point big enough to sell PSVR units. But that was more or less all I had to say. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm quite excited for Dreams and I really hope that it succeeds. I might even make more videos on it, as I still have a lot of things to say about it, so that's something you can look forward to. So thank you for watching this, and I'll see you around.